Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are taking a look at Duelist Advanced. The set has officially been fully revealed in the OCG. Now that's not the full version. We're gonna get our whatever the new TCG exclusive archetype is gonna be in our version. We're gonna get some other TCG exclusive probably and some OCG imports, but we can't really address those for another 2.5 months until we get the set ourselves. So for right now, let's go over what everything we know for the set is and kind of give it a you know early grade. Right, this is before we've really seen a ton of weeks and weekends and tournaments in the OCG to really get an idea of how impactful some of this stuff is going to be, at least for them. But we can still take an early kind of viewpoint on how impactful we think this set is going to be, because we're going to be coming off of Alliance Insight, which seems to be very impactful, right? So let's get into this thing. So as you can see, we have our tiers. We have the new archetypes. We have interesting support and banging support. Interesting support is like support for archetypes where I'm like, if you like it, that's cool for you, but I just don't think it's going to have much impact on, the competitive scene. Banging support's going to be stuff that's like legit. These archetypes are going to be legit players because of this new support post this set. Interesting free agents. These are going to be more either like really niche, generic cards, but maybe won't have like top tier applications aside from like a specific deck or two, or and then nice free agents. This would be where like your Molcharmies, your Dominus, your really big, like everybody's gonna want to get their hands on these types of cards. So let's get into it. I'm not even sure we even have any actual nice free agents in the set, but we'll look at it at the end and we'll see where we're at. So let's jump into it. Starting off with the new archetypes, and we may go a little out of order here as we go because I'm already having trouble finding my new archetype. Here we go. There's only one in this entire set. Prior to the TCG exclusive we're going to get, Artmesia is the only new archetype in this set. I think this archetype is fine. It is a fun start. There's a lot of searchability. There's a lot of consistency. Just doesn't seem like it's actually doing enough, right? Power wise, like what is this end board? There's some cool cards though. There is a good start. I think they'll do more to build around Medius going forward, who's like the centerpiece. He's kind of like the Albaz of this lore, or Visa Starfrost of the lore. We'll see where he ends up. It's a fun start, but for me, it's kind of like a 6 out of 10 kind of start here. So honestly, let's just do that just to get it out of the way, since that category is done with. Next up, we have interesting support here. This is going to be cool stuff. So let's start with the Flame Swordsman. New card for Flame Swordsman. Really, really powerful card. It's basically like a Lone Fire Blossom that doesn't need your normal summon, which is very good. It's nice for them. I think they need way more than this, though, unfortunately. So I'm going to leave it in the interesting support category without bumping it all the way up. Argastar, rank 4, really, really good card. This card can do a ton to help the deck, but again, the deck just needed more than one really good card. They needed like a wave of like 3 or 4 cards to build off. Hopefully they get more cards in the next core set and can keep the momentum going. Let's go ahead and throw Ashen in there. Again, another nice card for them. It's fine, but Ashen was so far away. Yes, you see that with a lot of these. Kaibaman, Blue Eyes actually is already there, but this card, unfortunately, this card unfortunately forces you to play like 3 copies of Vanilla Blue Eyes. Just nobody wants to do that. Like, you don't want to add this card to add an additional brick for a deck that already plays like 5 natural bricks. We just don't want to do that. Going through the rest here, there's some cool psychic support. I'm going to throw them in here, like as far as like the psychic generic, like if you want to call it psychic pile or whatever, psychic synchro is maybe a good name for it. They get some nice cards here. I don't think they've had enough tools prior to this support to actually build off of and be really good. I think the support might end up helping some just decks that happen to be psychic, separate from like generic psychic stuff. But I think as far as like that deck is like a pure, just kind of generic psychic synchro strategy, I don't really see it going anywhere. But it is fun if you want to mess around with it and you have nostalgia for some of those old cards. Next up here we have Regenesis support. They get a new spell and a new trap. They're just like nice options, but they're not moving the needle for me at all. Regenesis had a nice start with the first wave, and unfortunately, this wave didn't really capitalize on it like I was kind of hoping. Regenesis was kind of forming out to kind of feel like a Kashtira that didn't have the degenerate parts that Kashtira had, and they didn't really capitalize on this wave. So again, they fall into the same category of some of these other ones where it's like, hopefully they get a nicer wave in the next core set and they actually make something of it. I'm gonna put these guys here, Super Quantals. It's possible Quantals actually end up in like legit scary rogue deck. I don't know enough about them yet, and I'm not in a spot to like fully believe that they're there just yet. Ashen, or not Ashen, this would be Tistina. Tistina's card to me was better than the Ashen card overall in terms of how much it helped the archetype. But again, Tistina was so far away. I'm not sure this card alone helps you. They are getting closer though, because like them and Ashen, with the search spell they got in Alliance Insight, or I think it was Alliance Insight. That's the search card that helps both of them. That card's nice for them. They just need more. They're just going to need more to get there. So hopefully they get it. Skimming down here, is there anything else here for mid support? Yeah, sure. Adignister. They get like one card in here. It's like a version of Link Slayer for Adignister. I don't think they'll play it, unfortunately. So for me, it's interesting in that it's an option. It gives them back row removal. So that's maybe nifty. But outside of that, it's not really doing much. And I think that's really it for my like interesting support, but not super impactful here. Moving on to actual bang and support here. These are at least decks that I think can be rogue post this stuff. So the first would be the Utopia stuff. I think the support's pretty dang sweet. It's going to get outclassed by stuff like just better Exceed decks, like obviously Ryziel, of course, but it is what it is, and I think K9 too will probably outclass it. But I like what it has. This is a really nice setup for them. I think going forward, this is a really nice base, and I think this deck could easily see regional tops in the TCG, no problem. Nouvelle, I'm going to put in banging. I was on the fringe of putting them in interesting, but the cards they got like 3 cards. All 3 are like crazy. The new main deck Pendulum monster they got reads so custom, it's crazy. So if there ever was something that could get Nouvelle into legit like rogue territory, this would be it. If this flops, then maybe Nouvelle just could never do it. That's kind of like where I'm at. I think the Monarchs are pretty interesting. Yes, it's more stun. Yes, it's clearly going to be rogue. I don't see any scenario where a deck like this would be like top tier. But man, going first, terrifying. Truly terrifying deck to play when you're going second against them. Because they have access to floodgates. They now have access to some legit better end board pieces. And yeah, this deck's all about beating you in unfair ways. And yeah, with the new cards, they get even better at doing that. And their engine just gets more clean. Like they used to be so clunky before, and I think their engine just kind of got a lot cleaner with the new cards. From there, Lunalite. This is another one where like, yeah, it's probably fringe. Like a lot of these are more rogue. Almost all 4 of these are actually feel more rogue to me. But there's no avoiding it. The new Lunalite cards are good. The new boss monster fusion, if you make it, you should just be winning the duel. It's a massive towers. What is it? It's like 3,800 or something, 3,600. It is bigger than Chaos Angel as a towers that also just has a quick effect Raigeki on your turn. So if they make that card, they should be winning. And I wouldn't be surprised based on how well this deck spammed 4 years ago, 5 years ago, if like that deck still has the ability, it like can do even more than that as far as get to that and get to other pieces around it for the end board. So I think it's pretty scary. I don't know how much Anon engine they can fit, but like the new support's very, very interesting. Is there anything else here specific? No, generic. We'll throw Primite in here. The Primite stuff isn't crazy, but they're nice options. I'm not even as worried about the fusion monster as I am the fusion spell. They got a spell that basically like lets them fuse. I think it's a dragon fusion from grave. You as long as you use at least one normal monster. And Primite guarantees you a normal monster. Primite gets you the fusion spell very consistently. And so if there's another fusion that is dragon that's just good generically, then like I think that's actually pretty interesting. It's just that Primite's already part of the metagame. So I think this support is interesting. Not sure if it'll actually see play or not, but if it does, it only requires one more slot in your main deck, Blue Eyes players, and maybe you're able to make an actual good like boss monster end board piece from Primite, which would be really cool. And I think finishing up, no, we'll throw Morganite in there. I think this needs to be here just because like this is for basically one deck, right? But I do think it's like kind of similar to Monarchs, that like it might be this new stun deck, the new, you know, class of stun decks that really haven't performed well over the period over the last couple of years, just because decks have gotten better and more flexible to wiggle around those types of stun decks. You can obviously lose any game going second against a stun deck because they just might see the floodgates your deck cannot play through. But I think decks overall have just gotten better at wiggling around some of the floodgates these decks play, but this may be the best version of it. So I think it's at least good enough to put in this tier. I think we could see it on that regional level a little bit. Not crazy, but at least a little bit. All right, now that takes us to our final two, our actual really good ones. Sky Striker. I haven't seen early returns from the OCG yet since the set came out, but I think Sky Striker is going to be a legit powerful deck for them. The new Link 2 is custom. It is crazy how good that card is. And the new quick play they got is also nice. And the last time Striker was actually good, we have gotten multiple really good spell cards to make what the tools that deck has generically even better. Thrust, talents, cards like that we've gotten more recently than the last time they were good. Those tools also factor into making Striker better. So yes, they are very scary. And last I have Vanquish Soul. These aren't in like order or anything. I just think they're all interesting. But these two to me are like the true, like really spicy legacy supports here. Vanquish Soul is going to become very interesting as well here. I think their support is also really good. Between the spell and the new main deck monster, the deck got a lot more consistent at doing what it wants to do. You can play on your opponent's turn now. The monster shown here in the artwork, that card is just a hand trap on the opponent's turn if you have the right hand with it. Yeah, Vanquish Soul is very interesting. I'm very curious to see how good those decks perform in the OCG because it'll give us a good tell on what we can expect here in the TCG. And then we move into the free agents. I'm looking at it here. I'm not sure there's anything I can quite even put in the noise category here, but let's just see where we end up. We have the new Gaia card. This card's fine. It can jump on like a rank 5 or 7, maybe 5, 2, 7. I can't remember exactly what it is. It basically becomes a massive beater, which can be nice in some scenarios. Outing towers-esque monsters, kind of like how we talked about with Lunalight. So we can come up in that regard. I guess it kind of has some canine synergy because I believe you can put it on their 5s to just make a big beefy beater. But and it also works with Gaia Charger, so it's fine. But it's like a beater card. That's why it's just interesting. This guy, I don't remember his name, but he's like a mid floodgate, right? He says if your opponent summons like a weak monster, it's like it's negated or something. It's okay. This card is not crazy. It's just okay. But against a very specific deck, it actually could be pretty gnarly. I'm going to throw this card. You know what? I'll throw this card in Noise. This card is just a newer, different / slight, like probably worse overall version of Etelly. This card can like tribute a psychic monster you control, then summon one from your deck. Actually, do you have to? I think it does have to tribute a psychic specifically, but and then when you summon from deck, if it's a different level, you like pay life points. But it's kind of another version of Etelly. It kind of reminds me of the Goblin Biker Etelly card, where it's like tribute any monster to summon a goblin monster from deck. I think it's somewhat similar to that, except for all psychics. So those decks that really have really crucial cards of their strategies that are psychics, this card could be really clean. Overall, it's worse because you have to give up a body on field than Etelly, but it also gives you the benefit of being able to dodge hand traps like Imperm Veiler because it tributes, which emergency teleport couldn't do. So that's cool. So I think this is a higher tier like free agent. Since we don't actually have it, I wouldn't actually call it a noise free agent, but since we don't have anything that's like Charmy or Dominus level, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna move it up here. This card is scary. I think this card is going to be very niche in the types of decks that can play it. He requires a spellcaster and a dragon to make, but on field, he says like while you control this card, your opponent cannot activate like dragon or spellcaster effects. It's crazy. So yeah, there are going to be some matchups where like decks just lose to this card, plain and simple. There are going to be matchups where this card does literally nothing. But yeah, it is a very interesting card. This card is a continuous spell that like lets you basically, I don't remember if it adds or if it sets a trap monster, basically a continuous trap monster straight from your deck. So the Odeons of the world, the Eldritches of the world, like this is a pretty cool card. I know we have Silhouette Rabbit, but like with all those kind of popping up lately, this card's interesting. I think it's worth like keeping in mind. Starham. I'm actually going to put this in Noise Free Agents. This card's actually quite good. So it's a generic 3 that I believe like on summon just lets you reborn one of the monsters used for it and then treat that monster as a tuner, even if it wasn't. So you can reborn a non-tuner to treat it as a tuner. So if you use a 2 and a 1, right? If you want the 2 and it was the non-tuner, you can reborn it as the non-tuner. And the best part too is this guy is not a tuner either. So he reborns something and allows you to immediately climb. There have been cards like I think Metal Marcher, and there's the what is it called? Manadium. I think the level 6 Manadium Synchro. Those cards themselves are tuners and they reborn tuners. So they don't allow, like, you get the body back, but you can't go into another synchro because now you have 2 tuners. This card is not. So it allows you to pretty cleanly climb. I think there will be some synchro strategies into the future where this card's actually very spicy for that reason. So I like that a lot. New trap support. This card's cool. It's kind of, to me, reads like worse trap trick. You have to like destroy another spell or trap you control to set a trap, and then it can be activated that turn. It's in that same vein. It doesn't lock you like trap trick does, but again, having to target your own another spell or trap you control, destroy it, like there's some downside there. So yeah, just okay. This card's pretty cool. This card is like Light Beast Link 2. It's supposed to support Yummy, kind of how this card's supposed to support Dragon Tail or Draco Tail, I think is what the new name is going to be. This card can allow you to like add any quick play spell from your grave back to your hand. That's crazy. It does at least require you to use a light beast to make it. So it's not going to be super, super generic, but that's pretty crazy. Just get any generic quick play spell from grave back to hand. So Droplet if you're playing it. Enemy Controller if you're playing it, right? Metal Tronus, just some of the good ones out there, right? You can use and then get them back for the grind game with this card, which is cool. This guy's really cool as well. I'll actually put him in Noise. He's like kind of like a Book of Moon, rank 5. He's another good option. There aren't a ton of great options for rank 5s, at least generically. For Canine. And just because I know Canine either as an engine or as a pure deck is going to have some pretty solid play once the deck build pack comes out, Justice Hunters. And so I think this card can kind of be put on this tier because I think it's going to see play. I can see it and know it's going to be for a deck that's already kind of confirmed to be good. And lastly, we'll put the new Link 3 here. It is a reptile, so I don't know if that actually changes anything, but it is a dark at least. So it has really good synergy with the Bawaku and IP Masquerena, because if you can make this card on the opponent's turn, this card has 3 arrows that all point up into your opponent's 3 zones, like kind of above it and diagonal above it. It says everything it points to like can't activate its effects, and it gains this card's attack is equal to the attack of all monsters your opponent controls. Or that this card points to plus 100 basically. And I think it has one other bonus effect. It says like they can attack also the monsters it points to. So basically what can happen is like your opponent is summoning stuff in above this card or on one side of the field and either column is open, whether you're using IP or a bow to like reborn this, you could quick effect summon this to kind of turn off some things on the opponent's turn. A bow's a little more awkward because it's summoning from grave, so you'd want your opponent to more so summon into the EMZ and negate something in the EMZ, but still. It's an interesting card. I think it has some cool usability. We haven't really seen very many good generic Link 3s in a while. We see stuff like Access Code every once in a while, right? Boral Sword before him, Appaloosa. Haven't really seen a great Link 3 in a while, it feels like, at least generically. So this card's interesting. It's not crazy though. It's still again, if we had more Charmers and Dominus cards in this set, none of these probably would have made it into this category, but we got to make the best with what we got. All right, so looking at all these other categories. So for the new archetypes, I gave Art Mejia a 6 out of 10. It's a nice start, but I don't think this deck's going to be great out the gate, but it's a good setup, and hopefully in a set or two, it'll actually be like a legit playable deck. Interesting support is hard to, categorize just because, these are interesting support for a reason. They're not that good. So we're going to look at these two as a whole because this is the heaviest portion of the set is just legacy support. A lot of it's solid, and even these two are like phenomenal, and then like half of it's kind of meh. So for me, or at least like, listen, these cards aren't necessarily meh, but like overall, they're not getting the deck to the place you want, which is like a legit competitive level. So for me, I'm also going to give these a 6 out of 10. even though Sky Striker and Vanquish Soul are pulling a lot of the heavy weight, I feel like a lot of the other stuff is very average to below average in how much it's going to impact the actual metagame. So I'm going to give it a out of 10. You know what? I actually think 6.5 feels more fair. We are getting straight up 2 new, probably meta archetypes or fringe meta archetypes, and then like 5 or 6 rogue decks, although they're not all brand new, right? Primite's already in there. That's not going to be brand new, but it's helping one that already is around. Rora, give me a second. And then we get into the generic stuff. So same thing, kind of for free, the nicer free agents and the just interesting free agents. I'd have to give this an even lower score. Again, not a single like high impact one. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. I can give it a 5 and a 5.5 out of 10 just to make it kind of a little cleaner. I think that's fair enough. So for me, this set kind of feels overall like a 6 out of 10, but it's also important to keep in mind those 20 cards we're going to get in our version can totally bump this up, right? Mitsurugi's first wave was immediately like what the 5th best deck in the game. Like Raziel Mitsurugi was like, it was like around there, vying for one of the best decks in the game. So it's not out of the question at all for those 20 cards plus some really good reprints, or imports, I should say, from the OCG, and maybe like another really good TCG exclusive or two that come from whatever else gets printed there. So this can obviously go up because if we get one really good TCG exclusive to pair with this maybe goes up to a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Maybe some other low-key really nice support to bump this up to a 7 out of 10, and then we're looking at a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10 instead of a 6. So this is just for right now. This is early interpretation, but I don't expect it to really change a ton. Some new interesting rogue decks, some new players in the metagame with Striker and Vanquish Soul. And aside from that, just some kind of like fringe nice cards generically. So there you go. I'm out of here for today. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you think I'm being a little too harsh giving this set overall a 6 out of 10? Do you think I'm being maybe too lenient? Do you think this set's even worse somehow? Let me know your thoughts down below and what specifically you're looking forward to the most from this set. For me, 100% it's Striker, it's Vanquish Soul, it's Utopia, I think. And some of these generic cards are cool, like to mess with, but I don't have like a very specific option for most of them, but they're cool. I'll probably scoop a lot of those, but that's really what I'm looking for right now. But let me know what you are down in the comments, and let me know what you give this set out of 10. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. I'm out of here for today. I'll keep you up to date with all things Yu-Gi-Oh news and otherwise. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.